concept of taking up all the room, I think, goes beyond just the physical locations of, church. I think we have to look at and say, well, how crowded is not just our churches or our events, but how crowded are our lives. How crowded, is the space confined within 24 hours? Do we have any room at all for people to see Jesus or meet Jesus through us, the church? Our lives are so busy and packed with, events and games and school and work and all of these really good and important things, and yet when somebody really has a need, when somebody really needs to get to Jesus, they can't get to Him through us because we're in the way, or something else is in the way. Something good, usually. We're on our way driving maybe to church, and somebody needs a ride, and, well, we don't want to miss the opening song. So, how crowded is our house? How crowded is this church? I think that's something that I've really got to look at and make sure that I create space instead of just take up space. A few years ago, Switchfoot had this song that came out. It was called "Adding to the Noise," and when I think about concerts and even church or events or just really any place, there's always noise, whether it's white noise or whatnot. I mean, we constantly have our lives filled with noise, and so they had this song called "Adding to the Noise," and here are some of the lyrics. It says, "What's it going to take to slow us down, to let the silence spin us around? What's it going to take to drop this town we've been spinning at the speed of sound? Stepping out of those convenient stores, what could we want but more, more, more? From the third world to the corporate core, we are a symphony of modern humanity. If we're adding to the noise, turn off this song. If we're adding to the noise, turn off your stereo, radio, video." I don't know what they're going to think of next. Genetic engineers of the most high tech, a couple of new ways to fall into debt. I'm a nervous wreck, but I'll bet that TV set tells us what we wanted to hear. But none of these sound bites are coming in clear. From the third world to the corporate ear, we are a symphony of modern humanity. If we're adding to the noise, turn off this song. If we're adding to the noise, turn off your stereo, radio, video. And in a lot of ways, I think that when we get together at church or we come together for worship, it really is. It's just kind of noise. Paul said it so clearly. He said, if we get together and we could speak with the tongues of men and of angels, if we, get together and we just talk, and yet we do not have love, we are a resounding gong. We are simply adding to the noise. And here in this passage that we were just looking at in Mark chapter 2, the religious people, the lawyers, the scribes, the Pharisees of the day are simply just adding to the noise. And most of the time, that noise is not discussion of the Word like Jesus. Jesus, it says, was discussing the Word with the people. And yet the religious and other folks were kind of just gathered together, not discussing the Word, but yet using their words to discuss people. And if it's anything that we're guilty of, myself included, is talking about people in the wrong ways, and we end up talking more about people than we do talking about God and talking to God about people. And that's a real issue that we in the church have got to deal with. We've got to break away from this gathering together and spending so much time just talking and making noise instead of really discussing the Word and ways to implement the Word into the world and making a difference. And so let me wrap up this session by saying and challenging all of us to let's make sure that when we come together to worship that we're not just creating this event looking to get something out of it for ourselves, and yet we make an effort to create space for others to connect with God, for us to be changed so that we can be conduits of God's goodness and grace, that we make space in our own lives for that to happen, that we would perhaps give up even the very best so that someone who doesn't have anything could experience the very best as a gift of God from God through us. And let me encourage you to not add to the noise that's just going on, the constant chatter of meaninglessness and nothingness that we tend to talk about with each other. And let's really use our time and our lives and our words to talk about things that matter and to encourage one another in Christ. All right, have a great day.